three books that have helped me quite a bit. First book, David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me, followed up by I think it's called Never Finished, which is the sequel, and it's also good. So I love this book because David Goggins is not someone I would like to be like. He's an outlier. He's a one of a kind. His communication style is very unique and not for everyone. It's kind of a very direct, almost abrasive, probably, and his he comes from a very challenging background and essentially turns himself into a Navy SEAL in a way that is very captivating. He at one point he's a 300-pound exterminator, and then he just sort of like sees a Navy SEAL program on TV and says, "I want to do that." And I think he loses something like 100 pounds in 3 months to qualify for SEAL. There's stories in this book that are just impossible and fascinating. There's another part where he runs 100 miles with no training. Again, not an example of what to do, but he he gets to mile 70. He kind of goes into like renal failure, like he's dying, and there are bones broken in his legs and feet. Um, and he still finishes. He runs like a marathon after that. So it's pretty crazy. Anyway, it's a lot of fun and to me, it's a lot about what's possible and it makes me question what's possible. Like when I think I'm done, maybe I'm not. He sort of coined this term that's popular called the 40% rule, which is if you think you're done, like if a human thinks, oh, I'm done, like I'm really done, he thinks we're 40% done. So again, that's pretty fun. I think the next one to talk about, which might make sense after that, would be Grit. Angela Duckworth's Grit. This book is very, very good. And as a parent, I find it also quite helpful. So she covers uh, essentially, it's an argument, scientific argument with evidence that one of the real success indicators isn't things like talent or smarts or abilities. It's the ability to persevere, uh, and and she measures it as this grit factor. And there's a great story at the top of the book where West Point is having a challenge with recruits. So West Point is the future leaders of the Army, right? The West Point Academy, and there is a challenge where they're having sort of a high dropout rate. People aren't finishing West Point, and I think they hire her to sort of go back and look at how they are looking at candidates because maybe they're getting that wrong or something. And she kind of I hope I'm getting this right. She helps them come to the conclusion that they were accidentally over indexing on sort of like valedictorians and sports team captains and people who were already achieving leaders instead of looking for people who had gone through a lot of stuff and persevered through things and help them get West Point to be more successful. Anyway, it's also very helpful as a parent. I think I already said that, but because the fixed attributes, the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. Actually, that's from the book Mindset by Carol Dweck, I believe, which is very good. But similar topic, that idea of talent or achievement being an indicator versus the ability to persevere and grow. It helps because teaching the kids that is a good lesson, and I need a lesson. Um, Atomic Habits. This has sold many millions of copies, I believe. I think it's more than 10 million. So everybody probably already has a copy of this book. Very, very practical. Just going to open it up to a page. There's things in here about reducing friction um, uh, as a way to sort of change behavior. There's this sort of like a cue, then a behavior, then a reward, kind of like all this just really good theory about um, what makes a habit, and look, how to create a good habit, how to create a bad habit. Like it's really that's too small for you to read on camera, but it's really quite useful. Habit stacking is something that I'm doing right now, which is sometimes I think, oh, I need to do a total revamp in all these areas, and someone's helping me actually to Instead, just say, like my exercise routine right now is I have to do something before 7 in the morning. If I do like one sit up, it's a win. Or instead of trying to make my whole house ready to go at the end of the day, if the coffee pot's set up, that's a win. So I'm stacking those habits. Anyway, learned that from this book and got some help from somebody also about that. All right. Book report. I'm also, I do whatever I want on this particular YouTube channel, and I am also, full disclosure, trying to practice speaking more clearly, a little less mumbling, and a little less rambling. And publishing something helps sort of raise the stakes. So I'll put links to all the books in the description below. Thank you.